kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lemons, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me.
Behöver du en bil? Mabe hyrbilar finns på över 150 platser i landet och vi har nästan lika många modeller att välja på. Mabe hyrbilar. Hyrbilar som passar dig.
And just as quickly as it starts, it comes to an end. After a great race last time out at Las Vegas to open up the round of 15, we come to the final race of the round of 15, the cutoff race before we hit the round of 10. It is the AMRT 250 from Richmond Raceway. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. Alongside me, for the first time in seemingly forever, Tony Trapasso. Tony, it's going to be a great night here at Richmond. A lot of fun, close racing, especially after a race 2 weeks ago where we had such a long green flag run.
This track always puts on amazing action whenever we come here. And you're absolutely right, Frank. It's been too long. It feels like coming home again to have us back in the booth together.
It's been quite some time. I think it was before the playoffs even started.
It was almost a month.
Yeah, a little bit more than that, I think, actually, as we get set to go once again, this time from a short track. And it's going to be a difficult-to-manage race, I'm sure, for some of these guys. A lot of heavy braking points, a lot of coasting and rolling, and it's not a place where you can jam back on the throttle. So as far as these guys being road course racers, it might actually suit them quite well.
You're absolutely right, because you've got two different ends of the track. One is a decreasing radius corner, and the other is an increasing radius corner. And you can't really set the car up for either end and have it work where it's not set up for. So this is going to be a driver's race. This is where the cream is really going to rise to the top. And we're going to see who are the wheelmen and who are the posers.
It's also really nice. I learn a lot from these overhead shots as far as the racetrack goes. I knew that the start-finish line was set a little bit closer to turn 4 than it was to turn 1. I didn't think it was set that far over, if I'm honest.
By a lot.
But anyway, we'll go to the point standings coming into tonight. Alexander Arildsson with the win at Las Vegas last time out. He has clinched himself a spot in the round of 10. Guys like Jesper Eriksson, Daniel Solo, Linus Broström, those guys are almost mathematically locked in. It's going to be around that 10th spot where we're going to be seeing guys moving around. Anton Bradberg is going to be a focus tonight. Robert Eriksson is going to be a focus tonight. Those guys are in. Daniel Holmer, 1 point out. Peter Helmbro, 5. Erik Blixt, even after a second-place finish last week at Las Vegas, still finds himself on the outside looking in. Jonas Skoglund and Jonas Forss. 13 points is it's easy to make up in theory. It's not
also easy to lose.
Yeah, it's not a far gap, but these guys are going to have to do some work here tonight in order to make that gap up.
Well, Blixt has been putting in work because he's currently sitting 5th quick on the timing and scoring charts, and he's been turning a ton of laps here tonight. Solo also turning in a ton of laps tonight, currently sitting 11th quick in practice. As practice getting ready to wind on down, Jonas Forss currently sits 15th quick. And he, again, has put in a ton of laps. These guys are putting in the work. It's just they need luck to go their way tonight. And I think that's going to be the key to tonight. Who's going to move on? Who's going to get cut? You have to have lady luck in your passenger seat.
From what I've seen, the most laps turned here tonight. Now, remember, we have 208 laps of main event racing that we're going to be going through here tonight. Jonas Gunnarsson has run 132 laps from what I can see here in this practice session. So he has definitely put in a lot of work to get ready.
Tony Oivonen in 121.
Yep, Oivonen's done 121. Alexander Arildsson, fastest in practice, 113. Oscar Fredriksson's done 118. So these guys have put in a lot of time to get ready for this race. As we flip over into the qualifying session now, and one of the drivers that is on the outside looking in, Erik Blixt, he's going to be the first one to roll off.
Oscar Fredriksson also rolling it in the Forza Esports white and orange car tonight. Different paint scheme on Fredriksson, looking to stand out a little bit. And just as I say that, I'm looking at Jesper Eriksson's car.
Yeah, those guys had.
There's a lot of new paint schemes tonight.
Yeah, those guys had the white and orange cars, and forgiven for not realizing they were there last week with those cars.
However, I wasn't because I was having.
That's why I said forgiven for not knowing. As Erik Blixt comes across the line to finish his first lap. Laps are going to go quick here, only about 22 seconds. Blixt, fastest of all, 22:36 on lap number 1.
Bjorn Broström going to jump up to 2nd quick. But look at that time that Blixt laid down. Oh, my goodness.
Jonas
Gunnarsson, fastest of all.
Yep, just eclipsed it. Oscar Fredriksson gets a little bit faster as well. Fredriksson to a 22:20. He is the fastest. As we see Jonas Gunnarsson coming through 3 and 4. And Gunnarsson will go up to P3 at 22:31 on his second lap.
Dan Solo goes 8th quick. Not too shabby of a starting spot for that Ford. Sorry, Volvo.
Boy, Fleta Johansson really spinning it hard coming off at turn 2. Sure we'll be seeing that a lot here tonight as Robert Erling on his second lap. Erling in that number 82, 6th quickest on his first lap at a 22:42. See what he can do here. Ooh, another big wiggle, catches the wall, and that will invalidate that lap. Unfortunately, wasn't quicker on the first half of the lap, so it doesn't really negate too much there. Peter Helmbro, 11th quickest on his first lap, going around for lap number 2. See these guys really wiggle a lot coming off of turn 2 and 4, Tony.
They are, and a lot of that might have to do with the weather. Is we've got pretty stiff winds right now, Frank.
Take a look at those prior to going green for the race tonight as Tony Oivonen '18th quickest on his first attempt. We'll see what he can do here in the number 84, and Oivonen jump up to P7, a very good time for that number 84. Not as good as Linus Broström, who jumps up to 3rd on his qualifying attempt at a 22:31.
Dan Holmer went 7th quick. Gave up the first lap. And I've been noticing that with this next-gen car, if you completely just give up the first lap, that second lap can become a monster.
It is. It has been quite interesting how that has worked here, especially over the last couple of updates.
Only work in the next-gen car.
Yeah.
Like, I know a couple truck drivers tried that the other night, and it bit them in the backside. But in the next-gen car, if you've got 2 laps or more, throw away the first one and just concentrate on that second one, hitting your marks.
So we still have a minute to go here in this qualifying session. Well, now 40 seconds. Kim Nyholm, Johan Larsson, Jochen Wett, and Andre Solander have not put down qualifying times. Connie Lundell will sit on the pole for the... Jonas Forrest, my apologies, will be sitting on the pole for the sprint race, which Alexander Arildsson will appear in because he, with really nothing to gain and nothing to lose from this race, being locked into the next round, put down a 23:38 in qualifying. So not the greatest attempt for the man who already knows what he's going to be doing next week.
Probably a good thing he locked in last week.
Well, again, he was the fastest in the practice session, so we'll take a look now and see what the starting grid holds for the sprint race here tonight. Jonas Forss will start on pole for the sprint race. Philip Carlin on the outside of him in row number 1. Anton Bratberg and Alexander Arildsson will make up row number 2. Andre Solander and Kim Nyholm in row 3. Jochen Wett and Johan Larsson will sit in row number 4. So that will be your starting grid here for the sprint race. Just 28 cars here tonight. And as we are rapidly approaching the back end of this season, Tony, it's been spread out since they've gone every other week, but still, we've seen a lot of great racing this season, and we still have 3 more races to go after tonight.
We absolutely have, Frank, and I think I speak for both of us when I say it's been an absolute privilege to bring this series to the masses. Just week in and week out, you see a slugfest from the time the green flag comes out to the time the checkered flag finally comes out. These guys and gals, they know how to wheel these cars. They're some of the best in iRacing, hands down, in my opinion.
And big open racetrack coming up in 2 weeks' time at Auto Club Speedway. This car especially has put on some incredible racing at the 2-mile D-shaped oval in Fontana, California. Then a month from now, we will see Dover Motor Speedway. That will be the end of the round of 8 to lock in who will be running for the championship in a couple of weeks.
Frank, I will be right back.
Yep. So we're only showing 5 drivers that will be running here in this sprint race. Philip Carlin, Jonas Fors, Alexander Arildsson, Anton Brodberg, and Jochen Wett will be running in the sprint race. Andre Solander, Kim Nyholm, and Johan Larsson, whether they have declined to participate and start in the back or if they're not here, at least on my end, is up for debate as we are getting set to roll for our first bit of racing action here tonight. As it is interesting that the 2 Team Lockhart cars of Nyholm and Larson did not choose to participate in this race. Both of those drivers have had some success in these sprint races as the season has gone on. We will see what their strategy is going into tonight's race as we are just about set to go. Jonas Fors will lead them down into the Geico restart zone. They go. Green flag in the air. Jochen Wett getting a little argy-bargy there with the 111 of Bradberg.
Jonas Fors was 8 different kinds of sideways coming off of turn 4 as he got to the Geico restart zone. Gets it sorted out as Arildson's going to slide into second. Those 2 Ford Esports cars starting to pull a little bit of a gap on the Team Superior cars behind them. But so far, all 5 cars playing nicely.
So Forza Esports, 1 and 2. Team Superior, 3 and 4. And then Jochen Wett for Bright Esports at the rear of the queue as Jonas Fors really slides up through 1 and 2. That'll not only allow his teammate Arildsson by, but it'll also allow Anton Brodberg by.
Bradberg on a charge right now, set. Wow. Look at that lap Arildsson just set, 22.5. That's insane.
Not quite good enough for pole, but again, just shows the pace that 24 has tonight as we ride on board. And contact between Jonas Fors and Anton Brodberg. Caution is out.
Looks like he may have gotten a toot from the chrome horn there.
He absolutely did. We were riding on board with Jonas Fors as that happened. Take a look and see.
That's just one of them racing deals.
Yep. Just a little bit better into the corner, a higher entry.
Looks like he wanted to arc the corner more than Bradberg did. And Bradberg tried to shut the door. The only problem is Fors was already there.
Yep. Alexander Arildsson will come down pit road here. Now, granted, I'm sure this is a strategery ploy. Again, Arildsson, nothing to gain, nothing to lose from tonight.
Yeah, he's just going to go to the tail end. He's going to work on his passing as he didn't even stop in his box. He just went to the tail end.
He's going to have a little bit of fun this evening, I'm sure.
Why not?
Exactly right.
You know, use this sprint race as a test session because you know all 28 drivers are going to make the AMA. So use it as a test session. You know, figure out where you've got to start timing your runs, where you can make the moves, how you need to negotiate the turns in traffic. That's what this race is for. Are these guys that, you know, they get another look at the track. They're going to have the advantage because of that. As I'll just say that, we've got 3 of them taking them down to the side.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder if this is a game being played here because I think all 3 of these guys want to go as far back as they can. However, it's going to come down to determination as to who wants to start in the far back.
Well, Jochen Wett is still in his pit box after not hitting anything. He's waiting for the other 2 to start rolling. There we go.
Yeah. So Arildsson flat stopped in his box. Brodberg took 4. Wett took 4 and stopped. And now Arildsson's coming back in. Yeah, it's a little bit of a game going on here as to who wants to start where.
Well, they might want to hurry a little bit because the lights have gone out on that Chevy Silverado face truck.
Just under 4 minutes left in the session. We should, barring another caution, get the final 3 laps of this session in with no issue. As Jochen Wet, believe it or not, was slow enough coming back around that Arildsson beat him out.
You ever seen Days of Thunder?
Yeah, seen it a couple times.
I was going to say, Wet was about to cold trickle the field.
Wet keeps it well behind, and with all that monkeying around to try to get to the back, Alexander Arildsson's up into second going into turn 1.
Craziness. As now he makes a move to the inside of Jonas Force, going into 3. Force. Oy! I don't think you could have gotten another coat of paint between those cars, Frank.
I don't think so, as we got 2 laps to go here. Arildsson, you're up here, may as well go for the win at this point.
Sure, why not? Move up a little bit from where you qualified. Currently sitting +2. And he's going to let his teammate have this one.
Maybe try a different line on him as the white flag is in the air. 1 more lap to go. Carlin and Brodberg keeping their distance from each other. Jochen Wet has come down pit road, so he's ensuring he will start in the back. Alexander Arildsson pulls over to allow the 2 team superior cars around him. And coming across the line, it will be Jonas Force taking the win here in the sprint race.
It was a solid drive out of Force, and that's the Jonas Force I know. He has not had anything but bad luck this season in the feature races. But what we just saw right there is the Jonas Force I know. He knows how to get around a short track. He knows how to handle this car at speed. He just needs Lady Luck to jump in the passenger seat for 1 race. Just 1. Hopefully it's tonight.
Hopefully, and he will keep his 21st place starting spot as we take a look at the grid here for tonight's race. Oscar Fredriksson with a time of 22.204 sits on pole. He will lead his teammate Jesper Eriksson on row number 1. Linus Broström and Jonas Gunnarsson will make up row number 2 with Michael Haflidason and Erik Blixt in row number 3. Daniel Holmer and Tony Oivinen in row 4. Robert Erling and Robert Eriksson will make up row number 5. Anton Ehrman, Jonas Skoglund making up row number 6. Row 7 in the top half of the field will be made up by Daniel Solo and Peter Helmbro.
Row number 8 is going to give us Eric Lundberg and Bjorn Broström. Ken Tier and Haflida Johansson going to roll it from row number 9. Row 10 is going to go to Martin Liesnik and Connie Lindell, with Jonas Forge, your heat race winner, going to be starting next to Philip Carlin in row number 11. Row 12 is going to give us Anton Bratberg and Alexander Arildsson, last week's winner. Andre Zalander and Kim Nyholm in row number 13. And row 14 starting shotgun on the field. And thank you, iRacing Timing and Scoring, for not playing fairly. That's Håkan Wet in Zalander in row number 13. Row 14, Kim Nyholm and Johan Larsson. So 28 cars scheduled to roll it here tonight, Frank. 208 laps.
24 cars only make it out to the racetrack. Haflida Johansson, Andre Zalander, Kim Nyholm, and Johan Larsson did not make it out for the grid, nor have they popped onto pit road yet. Real quick look at the weather conditions here for tonight's race. We are 7:30 p.m. in sim time, 26 degree ambient temperature, 27 degree track temperature with a 12K wind, and that's the wind you were talking about wreaking havoc with these guys over the course of the qualifying session, blowing directly to the south.
Which is a crosswind coming off of 2 and 4, and there's an opening at both those spots, so this is going to really wreak hell with these guys as tonight wears on. As the field works its way into the 3-4 complex, Fredriksson going to have the button. Pace truck is in. The only thing to say is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab the popcorn because it's time to get it on in Richmond. Race fans, it's showtime! 3 wide already.
Yep, already in the middle there, 3 wide. I believe that is Michael Haflidason driving with, big wiggle out of a couple guys coming out of turn 3, driving with the race sponsor, AMRT, on the hood tonight.
Sharp-looking car.
Absolutely. Erik Blixt knows what he needs to do. Trying to get past Daniel Holmer right now in the 79 on the inside line, and Blixt will jump up into the 6th position right as the caution comes out.
Looks like something may have happened with Bjorn Broström.
See the right front damage on the number 41 of Broström. Martin Liesnik started in the 19th spot. He's now at the back. Take a look and see what happened with the number 41. Oh, got hit by Liesnik.
Oh, yeah, the 016 just turned him. That was a complete pit maneuver, as the cops would call it.
And
Broström not happy right now.
I'm sure. And for Liesnik, down in 21st position at the moment. He started in 19th, so I'm wondering if he was trying to go to the back and just dove in a little bit too much on the number 41. Either way, it is caution number 1 here tonight. Jesper Eriksson getting out in front and leading the first couple of laps we had under green flag conditions. 1 stage break here tonight. That will be on lap 80. So we should have a good 103 lap or so run to the finish.
Which should be a barn burner in the closing laps here at Richmond. It always is every time we come here to the great state of Virginia. But, Frank, these guys are not afraid to get after it early. As, we've already seen a couple of 3-wide situations. Granted, both of them haven't gone the way they wanted. But, it's still has led to some pretty decent racing so far, as we're working lap 5 of 208.
Absolutely, as guys are already doubling up. That's the one good thing about a short track, is there may be a lot of cautions. However, they go by quick with the track being as short as it is. We should be getting the one to go here. Lights should be going out on the pace truck here momentarily. So as we had mentioned before, Auto Club Speedway coming up in 2 weeks. That will be the start of the round of 10. Then it will be Dover to close out the round of 10 before the Championship 5 will do battle at Charlotte Motor Speedway on the 11th of May to close out this season. So after tonight, just 3 more races to try to get it done to see who will be the Season 5 champion for the Svenska eRacingligan, as we are 1 to green.
We are at that, as you got those 2 Forza Esports cars right up there in the thick of it. Matter of fact, 3 of your top 4 are for Forza Esports, although one of them, this is his last season with Forza.
Linus Broström on the outside there. So we are off and rolling yet again. Green flag back in the air. Jesper
That
Eriksson.
outside lane seems to be where you want to be restarting from because, granted, Eriksson was the controller car, so he got the jump. But Fredriksson was able to stay with him, and Broström is now side by side with Gunnarsson, as those 2 guys are just throwing haymakers at each other at both ends of the track.
You do straighten up a little bit more on the outside line, so it does make sense why you would want to start out there, especially if you're up towards the front, as Broström is not letting that 3rd position go just yet, but he's going to have to in a moment as Gunnarsson finally gets clear. Now Michael Haflidason will jump to the inside of the 71.
Haflidason works to the inside of the Chevy. And just like that, Brostrom's going to let him go. He wants to get down. But I don't know if Erik Blixt is going to let him. Yes, he is, whether Blixt wanted to or not. And something's going on with Dan Solo.
They were 3 wide in the back there. As Solo moving up a couple of positions. Anton Ehrman, Robert Erling, Jonas Skoglund were all 3 wide a moment ago.
And it's probably a good thing I don't speak Swedish.
Oi. 24 of Alexander Arildsson getting loose coming out of turn 2, going almost all the way down to the wall. Anton Ehrman slides up in front of Robert Erling as Peter Helmbro takes a spot away from Erik Lundberg. This is all just above the 15th position.
As we got a slugfest going on for second right now between Fredriksson and Gunnarsson. Those 2 guys have been door to door for the last 2 laps. The 33 of Gunnarsson on the low side, Fredriksson on the top shelf, trying to hold pace with his teammate Robert Eriksson, who is a half second to the good right now. And Michael Haflidason right behind those guys, just stalking him, going, go ahead, beat on each other. I'll just be here when your tires wear out.
It's not going to be a quick pass here tonight at Richmond. It would seem that outside line, you're not able to move forward, but you're able to maintain out there. As Jonas Gunnarsson will finally complete the pass and go into that second position. The bottom line is certainly where you're going to want to be as we see a battle with a car in the playoffs. Robert Eriksson, getting door-to-door with Tony Oivinen, and Eriksson needs every position that he can get in that 35, being on the inside looking out just by 1 point.
Oivinen going to come back on him going into turn number 1, but Eriksson able to arc the corner so much better. Oivinen had to have realized that he was way too low to make the exit of 2 stick and just let him go for now, as there's still a ton of racing left here tonight, Frank.
Robert
Battle
Eriksson
going on 12th as well now between Anton Auerman and Robert Erling. Sorry, that's Jonas Skoglund and Anton Auerman.
Jonas Skoglund on the outside looking in, 14th position in points, 9 points out coming into tonight. Anton Ehrman right now the first of the drivers that did not make the playoffs in the number 42. And Ehrman right now, solid position right now. 9 of your top 10 cars currently in playoff positions. Tony Oivinen, the only driver not in the playoffs, currently occupying the top 10.
Well, that's what we said earlier, is the cream is going to rise to the top tonight. Oivinen's one of the best. He just didn't have any luck this season.
No, certainly did not.
Had a ton of great runs, just the finishes haven't been there.
Right on board with the 9th place man, Tony Oivinen. Popping gears. Something you could definitely do in these cars. Unlike the old Gen 6s. And again, that's another feature of Richmond, is just how close you get to that backstretch wall. It's always incredible. It seems like these guys are getting a little bit closer than they normally do. As around goes Eriksson, Jesper Eriksson from the race lead. Saw that if you were looking forward on the camera there.
I had just clicked on it when it happened.
Take a look and see what happened. This would have been between teammates, not between teammates. It was Gunnarsson looking at the inside, chases him down the track a little bit, and
then gives him the chrome horn as they initiate the turn.
Eriksson went to brake for the turn, and Gunnarsson
did.
I think Gunnarsson might have been expecting him to clear up a little bit more than he did. It's right on board here with Gunnarsson. See, Eriksson chases him down the track, and then they were right on top of each other when it came to the braking zone.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much already connected. And that puts the regular season champion, Jesper Eriksson, in quite a sticky predicament. He's still second in points, so it's not going to really hurt him, but still, you want to win. You want that momentum going into the next race.
You absolutely do, and that just cost him 21 spots. It was soon to be 22 and 23.
Jochen Wet goes around. Haflidy Johansson, the other AM racing car carrying the AMRT sponsor. And we plugged it a lot during Daytona, but we haven't said it much since then. Thank you very much to AMRT for sponsoring this series, also providing a new sim rig to the champion made of 100% Swedish steel. So the winner of the championship this season will be getting a brand new sim rig from AMRT. I'll take a new sim rig over a trophy.
Absolutely, but I'll tell you right now, Frank, whoever does come home with that new sim rig, they earned it.
Absolutely.
Plain and simple. With as close as the battles have been since Daytona, these guys and gals have just put on amazing shows every single time they've hit the track.
There has not been one gimme this season at all. I'm going to look back through the point standings here just to take a look and see. From what I could see, going all the way back through the season, the biggest gap between first and second in points was 36 points, and that was the gap between Jesper Eriksson and Michael Haflidason after Michigan, which was round 4 of the season. After that, it was 22 points and closer between first and second in points.
And that's impressive. The fact that they've done as many races as they have together, and they didn't get a full race apart at any time. These guys and gals are just hats off to them every week.
And a full race between those two with full car fields, with full 40-car fields. It's been insane how many people have showed up this season on a weekly basis. Numbers have dipped a little bit, but that's what you expect at the end of a season. But other than that, it's been insane, the amount of high-quality racing, and no one has been able to breathe or get away on the racetrack and in the point standings as we get set going green again. A big wiggle out of both cars in the front row. Gunnarsson was able to recover quicker as Haflidason now will jump into second.
Gunnarsson, Haflidason, Fredrickson, Blixt up into fourth. This is exactly what that 95 needed.
Ooh,
we got one going in the back.
Jonas Gunnarsson clipping the inside wall hard.
In the backup car tonight.
Didn't break the suspension on it. Looks like he may have shoved that wheel in a little bit.
Oh, he completely pancaked the left side of that car.
Try to take a look back and see what happened here. We'll go from the restart following the 83. Looked good on the restart. I have a feeling that he spun the tires up coming out of turn 2. It's Anton Ehrman on the outside of him. Oh no, he slid up into the outside of the inside of Ehrman.
Yeah, that decreasing radius corner bit him, because you don't want to be on the inside in a 2x2 situation coming off the 2.
Certainly not, as Erik Blixt makes a pass. Alcantech first, second, and third as they sit right now, as Alexander Arildsson saw the games that he was playing during the sprint race, trying to position himself in a place where he can have some fun tonight. making his way through the field, just about in the top 10. If he can make this pass on Ehrman, he will be in the top 10.
Already sitting plus 13, now plus 14 as he gets the nose out in front of Ehrman coming off of turn number 4. Oy vey.
See how much that car is wiggling going into turn 1, I should say. It's one of those controllable wiggles that might also be the downshifts point for Arildsson, where that car is revving back up, so it's going to spin the tires a little bit, but able to hold on. Nothing too out of the ordinary for the number 24 right now. Through the field, everyone playing nice with each other. Haflidi Johansson, as we had mentioned, there he is in the 52. He did not grid up for the start of this race
because he was having connection issues.
Yes, and he has gotten out on the track, though. He's about 6 laps down as we sit in the number 52, but he is making laps. Kim Nyholm, Johan Larsson, and Andre Solander did not start here tonight,
and Robert Erling has put it on the hauler already.
Yep, and for Andre Solander, he was in 8th place in points coming into tonight. He was 9 points clear on the playoffs, so this might have cost him a playoff spot for Andre Solander. It's Tony Oivinen and Daniel Solo going side by side for 7th.
Those guys got into each other coming off of 4, and look who's behind them. That is the 24 of Arildsson, trying to figure out what he's got to do to get by those guys.
And Arildsson was the fastest in practice, qualified last of the drivers that took time in qualifying. Could have easily waltzed away with the sprint race, but gave it up to finish 4th. Started in the back. Has already worked himself up to 9th position right now in that 24.
All over the back bumper of Oivinen right now is Arildsson, as they're put a little bit of a gap on Eriksson. Robert Eriksson in 10th does not seem to be happy in traffic, and just as I say that, he almost gets into the back of Arildsson.
Arildsson running that middle lane. Eriksson running right down on the line. Anton Ehrman, I'm sure, is giving him a little bit of extra room, knowing that it's a teammate, knowing that Eriksson's on the bubble as far as the championship is concerned. Arildsson diving to the inside of Tony Oivinen. P8 for Arildsson. Couldn't quite clear him off a 2. Should, though, coming off a 4.
Here's the thing about Richmond that most people don't wrap their brain around until it's too late in a race to really do it. 1 and 2 is a late apex corner. But the problem is, if you leave that late apex open going into 1 to get it coming off of 2 to stay off the wall at speed, you're going to have somebody shove the nose in there, and next thing you know, I mean, that's what we've seen both times that we've seen the caution flag come out tonight, Frank. It was somebody trying to late apex 1 and 2, and somebody went to their inside not thinking.
Anton Bratberg battling with Jonas Fors for 13th position, and there is Jesper Eriksson angrily trying to push his way back through the field, and that's going to cost him a spot. Peter Helmbro will get by the 37. Peter Helmbro on the outside looking in as well. He was 5 points south of the cut line.
He is at that, and this is not what he was hoping for. But you take a look at Jonas Fors right now. Currently sits in 13th. He's plus 8. And then you've got the 111 of Bratberg right behind him. He's plus 9. Those are 2 of your biggest movers tonight, Frank. And this is what I come to expect out of those 2. Strong runs, moving the car forward. They just need to stay at everyone else's dumpster fire contact.
Around goes Anton Bratberg. Caution is out.
I no sooner had the words out of my mouth.
Oh, don't worry. I did the same thing a couple of weeks ago. As, yeah, that was Jesper Eriksson getting into Anton Bratberg for caution number 3. Let's take a look and see what transpired here.
Oh.
We said Eriksson was trying to force his way through the field, and that was, I wouldn't necessarily say he was forcing that there. It was kind of what you said before. Maybe trying to diamond the corner was Bratberg, take a late apex, and Eriksson was there.
Yeah, but Bratberg was at the wrong end of the track to be doing that.
Well,
3 and 4 is an early apex because it's an increasing radius corner. You can let the car run. He was trying to shut the door on Eriksson, and Jesper Eriksson was already there, got bumped down onto the apron, and just lost the front end of the car as soon as he hit the transition. And up the track, he got spat, simply because that apron around here is dirty. You know, this track has just enough banking that the marbles will collect on that yellow line.
everybody down pit road. Well, for the most part, Jonas Gunnarsson leading the field down pit road.
Linus Brostrom, Dan Holmer, Alexander Arildsson, Tony Oivonen, Erik Lundberg, Jonas Fors, and Peter Helmbro all electing to stay out. And everybody else in the field taking at least 4 in fuel.
All right, what we're going to do here really quick is we're going to take a quick break. We are going to be right back as we are having a little bit of issues on my end at least. So we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Try to get you back for the restart. If not, we will get you back just after.
Behöver du en bil? Mabe hyrbilar finns på över 150 platser i landet och vi har nästan lika många modeller att välja på. Mabe hyrbilar. Hyrbilar som passar dig.
And we are back at Richmond as Linus Brostrom getting a good getaway. Here comes Arildsson to the inside of Dan Holmer coming down the back chute. Drag race going into turn number 3. They're 3 wide behind them, though. It was Lundberg making a move up the gut as the 112 of Fredriksson hanging tough on the high side. Here we go, 3 wide again. That's Fredriksson, Lundberg, and have Linusson. And here comes Solo on the top shelf. The 18 of Lundberg wisely backing out of that one. Meanwhile, up at the front of this piece, Dan Holmer has his hands filled with Tony Oivinen right now. That is your battle for the final step of the podium. Gunnarsson, Blixt, and Fours all right there as well. Ton of battling inside the top 10 as Gunnarsson and Oivinen go door to door. Gunnarsson clawing his way back up into where he started. Oivinen sits +3. Your biggest mover, though, is currently in second place, stalking his teammate. That is the 24 of Alexander Arildsson, currently sitting +22 in second place. Eftersom starting to make some moves in the 81. And he's working the outside of Fredriksson right now. Fredriksson battles back as Eftersom has to try to stay off of Holmer. That opens the door for the 112 of Fredriksson to get by him. As we've got a battle for the lead, really getting hot and heavy now, as that's Gunnarsson to the inside of Broström down the back chute. Fresh tires against old tires, and that's what fresh tires can do for you, ladies and gentlemen. Gunnarsson starts to walk away from Broström right now. Arildsson working the outside of the 71, trying to claw his way back up there. Eftersom, though, right behind him is another one that's on fresh tires. The tire strategy of not taking them here under that last caution is not boding well for those guys that didn't take the tires. They've got 5 total sets to get them through tonight, so tires should not be an issue unless you don't take them. As Fredriksson gets by Dan Solo as well. Solo gets by Broström. Broström just continues to backslide down to 7th already as Anton Erman has caught him now. Jonas Fours continues his charge forward. 22 is sideways. Philip Carlin just went for a ride coming through 1 and 2. Gets it collected back up, and we stay green as the 111 of Bradberg has gotten by Jonas Fours. Bradberg now up 10 into 13th. Eftersom and Fredriksson still continue to run stem to stern for third. Dan Solo, Robert Eriksson all right there. Anton Erman is a couple car lengths back as he was way down on the apron. Erman's around in 4. Anton Erman just went for a ride coming through 3 and 4. As he was trying to regain some spots, and I dare say those guys that didn't come down last caution are definitely going to be coming down this caution. As Erman catches the apron in the middle of 3 and 4, got a little too low. That limbo bar fell right on his head. As we are working caution number 4. Gunnarsson shows the way at the front of this piece. Erik Blixt, Michael Eftersom, Oscar Fredriksson, Dan Solo, your top 5 as we currently sit. Your biggest mover, tied for your biggest mover, is going to be that 24 of Alexander Arildsson, who sits in 7th. And then you got to go back to Huck and Wet back in 10th. Both of those drivers are plus 17. The 111 Anton Bradberg currently sits plus 14, and Martin Liesnik right in front of him, not too shabby of a run as he's sitting plus 11, currently running in 8th. So a lot of movers and shakers in the positive direction here tonight from Richmond. Thank you so much for making us a part of your evening. as you are watching the AMRT 250 from Richmond Raceway. I'm George Basso. He's Frank Marchese. Frank had to step away for a couple of seconds, but hopefully he will be back momentarily. But what a race we have seen so far here tonight. A lot of moving, a lot of shaking, a lot of leaning on each other. But regardless of all of that, we've seen a lot of respect being shown throughout this field, as these guys know exactly what is on the line right now. This is the cutoff race to get into the round of 10 that starts in 2 weeks at Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. This is race number 2. We saw the race 2 weeks ago. Alexander Arildsson winning that one. So this race right here tonight for the 24 is pretty much just a gimme. He's already punched his ticket into the round of 10. And there's a handful of other drivers that are looking to do the same. Whether or not they can pull that off or not, that's a different story. As lights should be going out on that Chevy Silverado pace truck this time by, the question is, which lane is Gunnarsson going to take? And it looks like he is going to take the inside line in that Volvo. 2 Volvos and an Audi on the inside. 2 Chevys and a Toyota on the outside, as we get ready to turn them back loose here. Working lap 61 of 208. Gunnarsson has the button. Geico restart zone is in effect. Gunnarsson, Blixt, Eftersom, Fredriksson, Solo, Eriksson, your top 6. As the pace truck is into the restart zone they go. Gunnarsson jumps on the loud pedal, and we are back underway. As those 3 Alcantech cars running stem to stern. And here comes Solo up the inside of Fredriksson, going through 1 and 2. Door to door down the back straightaway. Eftersom in the series sponsors car, the AMRT Audi tonight. Looking back at that battle behind them between the Volvo of Solo and the Chevy of Fredriksson. Fredriksson not giving an inch right now, working the outside lane. And these guys are just picking them up and laying them down right now. As that battle for 4th, I don't think it could get any hotter or heavier. Checking back in just inside the top 13. Here comes Linus Brostrom getting up into 12th. Now up to 11th as he's working by Haken Wet. And Brostrom did come down that last time by to get 4 in fuel. So tire advantage to the 71 as he now works the inside of his teammate, Peter Helmbro. Down the front chute, Brostrom back into the top 10. Battle for 3rd, getting hot and heavy right now. As Eftersom and Fredriksson going after each other. Fredriksson has gotten clear of Solo, setting his sights now on the 81 of Eftersom. Not pushing the issue too intensely yet. Knows there's still a lot of racing left to do here, as we are 15 to the stage caution. Meanwhile, checking back in the top 10. That's Brostrom and Liesnik going after each other for 9th, door to door. It's Brostrom Chevy inside of the VW of Liesnik. Contact between the Force Racing teammates as Arildsson and Brostrom got together coming down back chute. That cost Arildsson a little bit of time as Brostrom now up into 8th and setting his sights on more. Meanwhile, Liesnik and Oivonen now going after each other. Oivonen on the inside, getting a good run, clawing his way back forward. As Arildsson going to let him by. Arildsson, final step of the top 10. As here comes the 42 of Oman to the inside of the outside of Liesnik, looking to follow Arildsson around the top shelf. And oi.
Apologize for the for my stepping aside as seeing Anton Bratberg right now running up in the 7th position, about to get passed by Linus Broström. Tony, thank you very much for that. Great job as always.
Happy to help.
As Broström sticking to the bottom in that 7th position. And with that, I'm having work problems at the moment. So Tony, Zach Woods is here with you right now. He will take you the rest of the way during the stage break here, which will be coming up in just about 10 laps or so, 9 or 10 laps from now. We will be switching over. Tony will be taking over the 1s and 2s, and I will be jumping out as Zach will be in with Tony for the remainder of the race once we hit the stage break. Jonas Gunnarsson about 0.4 of a second away from Erik Blixt. About a half a second there, Halfletus, and also about a half a second back from Blixt. Tony?
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get things set up on my end.
You're okay. You're okay. You're okay.
Don't mind me. I'm just kind of here.
Apologize for this, everyone. We're this is not a scenario that we're used to. Something that we haven't. Something that we haven't had to do, as we've had a lot of last-second changes. I do work for a radio station. Opening day for baseball today. We had a change last night, and everything's changing again. So this is. We do apologize for the confusion. We do apologize for everything getting upended right in the middle of the race, but this was not planned. As Daniel Solo allowing Linus Broström around, also Oscar Fredriksson now battling with Daniel Solo. Solo looking to the inside. We're just about 4 laps away, the end of lap 80. From going to break, or from going to the stage break. That's the break I meant.
I knew what you meant.
Thank you. Still Solo leaning on that outside of Oscar Fredriksson. Solo does have the advantage as it sits right now. Jonas Gunnarsson just over Erik Blixt. Now, Erik Blixt could really use these stage points. Again, Blixt on the outside looking in. Jonas Skoglund also on the outside looking in, just getting lapped. As Gunnarsson has been one of the more dominant cars here in this first stage. Looking to take that green and white checkered flag here to really solidify his ability to go into the next round. Erik Blixt just behind him. Does not look like he is going to have enough time. So it will be Jonas Gunnarsson to take the win here in the stage. Erik Blixt, Michael Halfleitusen, Linus Broström, Daniel Solo, your top 5 as we end the first stage. And once again, 9 of the 10 drivers in the top 10 all running for the championship. Jonas Gunnarsson takes the stage win. We'll take a quick break. The stream will black out momentarily, but we will be right back up to get you going the rest of the way here from Richmond.
Behöver du en bil? Mabe hyrbilar finns på över 150 platser i landet och vi har nästan lika många modeller att välja på. Mabe hyrbilar. Hyrbilar som passar dig.
Guys, but I'm out.
And we are back at Richmond. Lights are out on the Chevy Silverado pace truck. Tony Oivonen electing to stay out. Joining me in the booth now, the man, the myth, the living legend himself, Zach Woods. Thank you so much for stepping in tonight.
Green flag.
No problem, Tony. I'm really excited for this track car combo, and we got a great league to broadcast here as we are back underway at green here at Richmond.
Good luck with the names, because I know that threw me off the first time I had to do this league. As we are already 3 wide, just outside the top 10. Julius Rose from making a run around the outside, 91 into the wall.
Yellow is back out here at Richmond. Tony, I do have I have one race under my belt with this particular league. They were at Sebring, and they were not racing cup cars. They were
the LMPs.
Yes, they were, and it was a great contest. But I can almost promise you that none of the pronunciations that I kept from that show will translate into this show.
Now, that was Connie Lindell in the 91 who got turned by the 24. He was trying to get up the track and out of the way. The only problem is the 24 was already there. Alexander Arildsson was making a move. And just like that, we are back under caution just that quick. As we go back to live, Tony Oivonen elects to stay out again. Again, Oivonen was last down pit road on lap 57, as was Dan Holmer. Eriksson in 35, he was down quite a while ago. Same thing for Bradford. Those guys all came down under, I believe, the second or third caution early going in this piece, as we are working lap 89 of 208 here tonight from Richmond.
It looks like there's
Haflida
a lot
Johansson getting the free pass.
Looks like there's a lot of different strategies from a number of these competitors here right now. We have, like you said earlier, Tony, there was a number of guys that went down pit road here. So definitely on a track that tires matter. It'll be interesting to watch kind of the trek back up from 20th. So Eriksson and company, that's a name I do recognize from the previous broadcast that had some speed before. Of course, different car, just different track. So we'll have to take a peek and see how Eriksson makes his way back up through the field.
Well, there's two of those in the field tonight.
Yes.
There's Robert Eriksson, and then there is Jesper Eriksson, who's back in 20th. The thing is, Zach, you picked a great night to come on board for the Svenska eRacingligan Cup Series, being as we're cutting heads tonight. We're going to whittle this thing down from the 15 that are currently in the playoffs down to 10 going into Auto Club in 2 weeks.
Oh, so some points drama tonight.
Oh,
that's
we are
great.
Cutting heads, brother. And the white guy we're trying to keep an eye on, two guys we're trying to keep an eye on, are back there just inside the top 10. That's the 95 of Erik Blixt and his teammate Dan Solo, both those drivers for Alcantech, as we're on the outside coming into tonight.
Okay.
Now, the only guy that is 100% safe is back there in 12th in the 24. That is Alexander Arildsson, as he won 2 weeks ago at Chi-Town. Oh,
no pressure then for Arildsson.
He's been having fun tonight. That's all he's doing.
Yeah. You just go get to have fun at a racetrack that, admittedly isn't fun for me to go around a race. So I envy him. But,
this track in anything other than maybe a pavement modified is a handful.
Absolutely.
And even in the pavement modified, it's a handful. But lights are out on the Chevy Silverado pace truck, the official pace truck of iRacing. Oivonen going to have the button one more time. Let's see what type of restart we're going to get. He's got those 3 Team Superior cars all around him. Make that 4 of them within striking distance. He jumps on the loud pedal. That opens the door for Dan Holmer to get to the inside of Eriksson going into 1.
Side by side here, you got to rotate these corners very well, but then also concentrate on a pristine exit. A lot of these guys up front are doing just that right now, as the battle now looks to be for second place back here.
Actually, it's more like 6th and 7th. As Brostrom working the high side, we're 3 wide going into 1. That's never a good idea. Brostrom gets run up the track by Bradford. Still 3 wide as Arildsson gets in there. These guys have not given up yet. And just like that, we are under caution. Philip Carlin, I thought I saw somebody get spit out there. And Peter Helmbro, those 2 guys bringing out the caution. Let's go back and take a look at what happened here, as this is what the iRacing blimp picked up. See Carlin in the double deuce. He's going to get put in a 3-wide situation, not that he wanted to. As there are 4 wide in front of him, and Solo just gets into him. Ouch. The 77 of Helmbro, nowhere to go. Let's take a look at this one again from a different angle. You got Solo behind the 22. The 73 takes evasive action. Oy. That was a hard hit. Are you okay? Because you just went through a wall.
That's an old school wall down there, Tony. That's
not a safer barrier. That's concrete.
That's no soft, cushiony wall down there. That's the real deal.
Well, even those safer barriers, those are no picnic to hit either. And that's just aluminum backed by styrofoam. But it's not the styrofoam that, your cooler is. It's the stuff that you generally put for insulation around a house. It's that thick hardcore styrofoam that it'll give, but not much. As we are working another caution here tonight, Jonas Gunnarsson has taken over the lead as Tony Oivonen has come down pit road. Working lap 97 of 2:08 here tonight. Gunnarsson, Eriksson, Haflidason, Blixt, Brostrom, Arildsson, Oman. So we're taking a look at the grid right now. Anyone highlighted in blue are playoff contenders.
Hey, good stuff.
You can thank Frank for that because he is our SDK wizard. He punches stuff on his computer and good things happen.
Well, as he said earlier, that number 24 machine, he's sitting pretty right now. We just talked about him on that last restart. He was 12th. Now he's all the way up to 6th.
Well, he started dead last.
Not a care in the world.
Purposely qualified slowest of everybody that did take time. He led a couple laps in the heat race earlier and then dropped to the tail. Matter of fact, he parked it early so he could start at the tail end of this field just to make his night a little more interesting. Already into the top 10, flirting with the top 5, as that is Linus Brostrom, who has the last spot in the top 5, right to his outside.
A long ways to go here in this one. I mean, we are picking up lap 99 of this 208 lap event, so just because your favorite driver is up front right now, that's not a guarantee that they're going to be up front come the end of this thing. This track tends to lend itself to quite a bit of chaos over the years.
Chaos, yeah, that's a good way to put that. Carnage would be the other way I would put it. I remember at the time Busch Series race back in 05, the night race, where one of the cars went up on its roof and rode the back wall on the driver's door.
Wow.
I believe it was Mike Wallace that had that happen to him, to be honest with you. As we are back underway, Gunnarsson has Haflidason all over his back bumper. Those 3 Alcantech cars running stem to stern on the low side. Team Superior's Erik Blixt not having a good time of it on the top shelf.
Yeah, Blixt is really struggling. He's got to make sure that he takes evasive action get down to that.
That was Eriksson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Blixt is cruising right now.
In the top 3.
Yeah, he's on that low line. You want to be down there as soon as possible. You can see the 35 of Eriksson really struggling. There he goes, finds a hole in line right in front of his teammate, Frank. Tony. I think there was some give and take there between teammates.
Yeah, Anton Ehrman knows what's at stake for Robert Eriksson. As Ehrman gets into the wall coming off of 4, he's going to hemorrhage some spots. Dan Solo looking to make it 3 wide. Thought better of it as Eriksson didn't lose as much speed as we were to think after banging the wall coming off of 4. As here comes Solo to the inside now. Jonas Force looking to follow, or Jonas Force follow. That's Oscar Fredrickson looking to follow Solo through. As Solo follows Force. Force, one of your other biggest movers, currently sits plus 14 after winning the heat race.
Yeah, Forrest doing a great job trying to maintain pace. Wow, there are multiple cars in the wall coming out of turn 2.
Forrest sideways through 4 and onto pit road, whether he wanted to or not.
That's just a creative pit stop at this point. So the 78, the 78 gets booted down pit road. Nobody's worse for wear there. That normally is a one-way triple to the barrels there, though. Oh, we got a wreck here down the backstretch.
That's Lundberg going for a ride.
Yellow, yellow, yellow.
And Tony Oivonen with him. Oh, no. Oivonen had such a strong run going. Let's go back and take a look at this one from the eye in the sky. There you see the 18 of Lundberg. Oivonen going to work to his inside. 3 wide situation. That'll never end anything but poorly.
Ooh.
That looked like net code.
Yeah, I'm wondering if contact was made between him and Kenneth Tier as they were side by side out of the corner.
Well, let's find out. As we're going to go back and take a look at that one again from the onboard of Oivinen. You can see Tier just to his outside. And I'm sorry, we want to be on board with Lundberg. No, there was contact, but it was a reverse pit maneuver, basically. Good grief! And just like that, we are back under caution as we go back live. Top 13 electing all to stay out.
Close quarters racing here at Richmond, as you said. Going into turn one, they were 3 wide. Normally when that happens, it doesn't end very well. So, again, for viewers that are hopping on, perhaps for the first time, taking a look at our action here from Richmond tonight. All the drivers that are in blue highlighted on the scoring pylon are drivers that are in the championship hunt. And you can see a couple guys up here, Tony, here in the top 10, that don't have blue around them, so they're just looking for wins.
That's Dan Solo in the 13 and Liesnik in the 016 as Solo just barely missed getting into the playoffs. Had a couple of poor races early in the season. As a matter of fact, I think he missed Daytona, but still had strong runs. Just missed the playoffs without a win this season. Liesnik, same way. He's had strong runs all season, just has not had the finishes indicative to how strong that team has been. As we're just waiting on the lights to go out on the pace car. Now, there's a couple interesting scenarios to look at here. As you take a look at 4th place right now, that's Linus Broström. Currently running for Force Esports. This is his last season with Force.
Oh.
Yes, he is going to a different team next season. That was announced a little bit just before the playoffs started. So, kind of a bittersweet deal. And the last thing I would do would be call Linus Broström a lame duck, because he is still racing the wheels off of that Camaro.
Yeah, certainly doing a good job here tonight at a pretty challenging racetrack, as we are now just under 100 to go. But ultimately, these drivers are going to have to pull those belts tight a little bit more here, Tony, because now, as if we have already observed a race with not a lot of give and take, it's going to get significantly more lopsided as the laps tend to wind down.
It is at that, but I'll tell you right now, the guy that's sweating bullets right now is that 95 of Erik Blixt. He was on the outside by quite a bit coming into tonight. He needs a good finish. Doesn't need to necessarily win, but he needs a good finish to move him into the round of 10 in 2 weeks at Auto Club.
Side by side here into turn 1 and 2 at Richmond. They're all going to play nice, and now they're already on the opposite end of the racetrack looking for more here.
Gunnarsson and Arildsson. You wouldn't know those guys were teammates, would you?
Well, it gives you the opportunity to race your teammate hard, as soon as I say that, Arildsson pulls behind Gunnarsson there, but the battle is now for third. And there's another caution here at Richmond. That's the 77 of Helmborough.
Peter
Helmborough. There we go.
He was off pace. Connie Lindahl was also, looks like, mixed up in that mess. As we're going to see what did happen here. Coming off of 4. So far, so good. Too much rear brake bias, and around goes the 77. Oi! Let's watch that one again. But we're going to watch it from the 42. No, we're not.
The 91, I think, is who you're looking for.
Nope. The car that's behind the 91, which I know for a fact has the wrong number on it. Is it Irma? No. Aha, it's Haflidy Johansson. Let's go back and take a look. Watch this. You're going to see the 77 of Helmro get sideways at the other end of the track. There he goes. Now watch this.
Ooh.
Heads up driving. Way to go, gentlemen. So Gunnarsson, Haflidason, Blixt, Arildsson, Solo, Eriksson, Fredriksson, Liesnik, Holmer, and Tier, rounding out your top 10 as we currently sit. Your biggest mover, of course, is that 24 of Arildsson. Martin Liesnik, though, nothing to shake a stick at. He's currently sitting plus 11 in 8th. And never count out Jonas Fors. Especially on, I would call this a short track. Jonas Fors knows how to wheel a car.
Yeah. Definitely sitting right outside of the top 10. Got to try to get a good restart here and really capitalize on the opportunity that's right in front of him. Definitely a strong run shaping up for him tonight.
Absolutely is. As you're ready to turn these guys loose. Light should be going out on that pace truck next time by.
And it seems like every time there is a new restart, Alexander Arildsson. I mean, it is the novelty of it, isn't it? But that 24 machine tends to get a really good jump and gains just a couple spots every single restart. Not too long ago, we were talking about him in 12th. He's all the way up to 4th now. But now the challenge is that 24 is on that high line. You don't want to be up there.
Well, he's been strong up there all night. As a matter of fact, that's where he made the pass for the lead in the heat race. But it was his teammate he was passing in the form of Jonas Fors. As Gunnarsson gonna have the trigger as the field work between the 3-4 complex. Remember, Geico restart zone rules are in effect tonight, as are overtime rules. And Gunnarsson wastes absolutely zero time jumping on the loud pedal as Blixt and Arildsson go door-to-door for 3rd.
And it's a side-by-side battle between these two drivers, and you are right. That 24 really rolling that top really well.
He absolutely is. As his teammate Jesper Eriksson right behind him, trying to figure out what lane he wants to be in. He's got that choice as there's nobody to his inside. As Dan Solo has finally gotten clear. And don't look now, but here comes Daniel Holmer as well, who is also at one point on the outside looking in the point standings. Needs a good run tonight. Doesn't necessarily need to win, but he does need a top 5 to move into the round of 10 in 2 weeks.
A lot of drivers are stepping up to the plate tonight. You talked about Erik Blixt earlier, making his way up through the field, and there's a big one coming off of 2. Multiple drivers involved.
Jonas Fors parked the wrong way on a one-way street, as is his teammate Oscar Fredriksson. Let's go back and take a look at this one. This is what the eye in the sky picked up. There you see fours in the 78 working the inside of the 016 of Liesnik.
Ooh.
Contact. And fours almost missed it. Tony Oivinen has to have the rabbit's foot in his pocket tonight.
And I said it was a big one, Tony, just simply because the last I looked, both cars were just sideways across the track in front of a bunch of people.
Oh, yeah.
Kudos to a lot of this field.
Watch this. It's going to pop off. We're on board with Tony Oivinen.
Yikes.
I don't think he caught a piece of it. That was definitely a Code Brown moment, though.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it happens so quick, there's not a lot that you can do. You just kind of grit your teeth and hope for the best. And, well, the best has happened multiple times here in the last couple cautions.
It has at that, as that is 79. Oh, and the 016 is who got into the 112. Jonas Forrest could not get low enough as the 101 of Haken Wet also gets into it. Doesn't seem to be a ton of damage. I mean, a little bit of right front damage on Forrest's car. Oh, yeah. Not a ton on Fredrickson, though, so that might be a good thing. And doesn't seem to be a ton of damage on the 101 of Wet either.
Yeah, Wet did a really good job at just making the best out of a bad situation there. He said, well, I'm going to take less damage by scraping the wall than I will pile driving the car that's broadside in front of me. So made a executive decision there and did a good job.
Did at that, as still waiting on some of the takers to come down pit road. We did see some action, not a ton of it though. Fredrickson and Lundell, the only two that actually did pit. Oh, Jonas Forrest as well. He spent an extended period of time on pit road, trying to get that car back up into contention. Jonas Gunnarsson continues to show the way. Erik Blixt did have to give up the spot to Arildsson. Now the question is, can Blixt do anything from the outside?
Yeah, it's going to be hard to tell. It is a really defined craft to roll the outside here at Richmond. So you either got it or you don't. And we've observed on a couple of these restarts here, Tony, a couple of these competitors clearly don't got it. They would rather pass by bump and run along the low line. But there are other drivers here, man, like Alexander in that 24.
I think a lot of it has to do with how much experience you have on short tracks where the high line is the line. Like when I first started in iRacing, I was running with Deep that it was all short track stuff. And we did a lot at Irwindale and a lot at IRP. And
Green.
you had to be on your highline game at those two tracks, or else you were going to the back, and you were going to the back quickly.
Back underway here from Richmond. Again, Gunnarsson getting a great restart. Huge advantage being the one in charge there.
Arildsson looking on the inside of Heflidis and going through 3 and 4. Blix and Eriksson now go after each other for 4th.
The battle still remains here up front, 2nd and 3rd. And then we have 4th and 5th back here as well. Ooh, guys getting squirrely in the back there. Chilling around 10th place or so. They all sorted out just outside the top 10.
That was Bratberg that just went for a ride down the back chute. We stay green, though, as Blix and Arildsson have not given up on each other. Neither have Arildsson and Heflidis. Somebody's into the wall. Ken
That's a
Tier just
49.
ate turn 2.
And he might be broke, Tony.
I dare say you are correct, sir. And as a matter of fact, that is Bluetooth right front suspension on that Chevy.
Going down pit road here, both the 49 and the 22. We remain green.
Something happened with the Arildsson as he hemorrhaged a few spots.
Yeah, absolutely. All the way back to 6th now.
As those 3 Alcantech cars continue to run stem to stern. Then you've got the Forza Esports 37 of Robert Eriksson. Another Alcantech car in the form of Dan Solo. And another Forza Esports car in your top 6. That's Alexander Arildsson looking on the inside of Solo. And then your first for Bright Esports, that's Dan Holmer, who was on the outside looking in coming into tonight, needs a good finish to move on to the round of 10 in 2 weeks.
Up front here, they are looking like settling into a rhythm, dare I say it. And that's so important here at a track like Richmond. You have to be able to get into a groove and capitalize on the drivers in front of you. Michael Avledison is struggling right now to keep Jesper Eriksson behind him. At 37 really rotates the corners very well.
He does at that. Now, is it fitting that you've got to have a good rhythm in the same city that makes Gibson guitars?
Hey, good stuff.
Absolutely. It just kind of makes sense to me that, you know, it's a place where rhythm and blues find a home, and you better have a good rhythm going, or else you're going to be singing the blues at the end of this thing here tonight, as Avledison has his hands filled with Jesper Eriksson right now.
Avledison threw a bit of a block going into turn 1. It messed up his entry, affected his entire corner, and Eriksson getting great launches off of each end of the racetrack. He's going to take a peek here down going into 1.
But you can see just how much front-end damage that 37 has. He has been in the mix of it all night long. Finally wrestles the spot away. Doesn't quite get clear yet. Finally gets the clear going into 3 as the 81 of Avledison now goes on the offensive.
I don't think there's a whole lot Avledison can do here. At 37 is clearly quicker. He might set sail now for Gunnarsson up here in the lead.
Well, that's a good possibility. Is, you know, it's been a Forza Esports Alcantech season for the most part. 2 of your winningest teams all year long. As we're going to check back in just inside the top 10, as that's Liesnik and Eriksson, Robert Eriksson going after each other. Liesnik plus 11 currently sits in 8th on the top shelf. Eriksson now into 8th. And Tony Oivinen back in the mix.
Great battle here. Side by side.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 016 fighting hard there on the high line.
And did you notice what's on the nose of the 016? That's not a Mustang.
Oh.
That's a Volkswagen.
I love it. That is great. Still side by side. Wow.
Take a look at what's leading. That's a Volvo.
Yeah, I did notice the Volvo early on in this contest.
Did you notice what's in 3rd place though?
Nope.
That's an Audi.
Okay. Oh, I see the rings now. There. Yep, I do.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I love the creativity.
I love this league just for that simple fact. As we're watching the battle for 14th between Helmbro and Lundberg. Lundberg on the top shelf. Here comes Oscar Fredrickson back into the mix. You can see a little bit of front-end damage on the 112. 18, I'm surprised he doesn't have more damage than he does, because he has been put into the wall a couple of times tonight. Oh, hey! That's dirty
Almost.
cool.
Oh,
Beating and banging on each other going into 3 as they were beating and banging come down the back chute.
they're still getting into it. Lundberg and Fredriksson just going at it right now. This is a this is a pretty intense battle for 15th back here. Look, he's still not done with them.
Absolutely not. They're going to beat the bumpers off those cars if they're not careful. Oh.
Got to be careful with those shallow entries. You can't wash up the racetrack.
Here we go. Lundberg giving Fredriksson plenty of room coming off of 4 and then pinches him down going into 1. However, Fredriksson with the advantage gets the spot finally.
I think that was smart from the 18 machine. You know, things are getting pretty heated.
Battle for
as
the
we
lead.
have a battle for the lead.
Eriksson on the low side, Gunnarsson on the top shelf. And Eriksson just makes it look that easy. And there's only 6 laps different in their tires. So that shouldn't be this deep into a run. They were last down on lap 88 and 82 respectively. There shouldn't have been that big of an advantage. That just goes to show you what type of pace Gunnarsson has been setting here tonight.
Certainly a masterclass here at a track that does lend itself to a lot of difficulty for drivers. So that 37 is on it right now.
Absolutely. As we're going to check back in with the 016 of Lieznik as he has Linus Brostrom glued to his back bumper. Now Brostrom does have a tire advantage. He was last down on 112 to Lieznik's 82. So you should see this pass happen relatively uneventfully.
And this is just outside.
Lesnick's battling back, though.
Yeah, it's just outside the top 10, so you certainly have a lot to fight for here if you are both of these drivers. So don't expect that 016 to just lay down and let the spot go by.
Oh, absolutely not, especially considering that, Lieznik isn't in the playoffs. He's looking to play spoiler.
That 112 machine, Tony, let me tell you, is providing some great entertainment. Oscar Fredriksson went from the top to the bottom to sideways, still making it work.
Oh, he's doing everything except spitting on it right now. And Fredriksson's another one that, he's got to be careful. Oh!
He didn't listen to you.
Okay, Oscar, I know you've got the freshest tires on track, but you don't need to show off.
That was impressive. That was really impressive to make that car stick. He's been super aggressive in his entries, too, so to keep that car down there on that low line, tires mean a lot.
They absolutely do, as they were given 5 total sets tonight. So the set that they qualified on was the set that they had to start the race on. And then they're laying 4 in the pits, and so far, the only one that would be even close, I think he's on his 4th set. No, he's on his 4th set, is Linus Brostrom in 10th. So he's going to have to be careful here as we're closing in on 50 to go. Meanwhile, in front of these guys, Haflidason and Arildsson starting to pick things up.
24 dropped back a few positions earlier on into this run, now starting to claw his way back up into the mix, looking to take it to Haflidason.
Picking them up, laying them down is exactly what they're doing right now. As we got a battle starting to brew for 12th as well between the two team superior teammates. That's Bratberg and Alman going after each other. Not exactly what you would expect to see, as now Haflidason and Arildsson have gotten even closer. This is a battle like we're going to probably see this coming year at Le Mans, with Hendrick Motorsports entering a Camaro next-gen car for the first time.
There's a bump right there. Wow.
Just a little toot from the chrome horn.
Says, hey, I'm here. Making his presence known right now. This is a great battle starting to shape up here for third.
I used to race with a guy way back in the day. We called him 3-tap Terry.
Oh.
The first tap was to let you know that he was there. The second tap was to let you know he wanted by. The third tap, you were piecing the car back on the hauler.
Well, I've only counted one tap here, so meanwhile, somebody who's not afraid to
True story.
Is the 112 machine. He is picking him up and putting him down now inside the top 10.
Absolutely. It's Tony Oivinen right in front of him, works the inside of Robert Eriksson. As this is some pretty good battling that we're seeing here. Fredriksson and Brostrom, a little bit of a difference in the tire wear, about 10 lap difference between those two. And then Eriksson and Oivinen were both last down on 105. So about 15 lap difference, and we're 3 wide contact with Oivinen. How did he not turn him?
How did he not turn him? How did he not wreck into Eriksson on the outside? So many questions left unanswered. Oh, hit him this time.
You were saying?
Yellow.
Tony Oivinen just got chewed up and spat out. So there was the first tap. Backs out a little bit. Brostrom has to stay off the 65. He lets the 112 get back to him. And just ZFG. Well then, that's a fine how do you do.
This caution is going to bring an opportunity for drivers to pit. Unless if you're Oscar Fredriksson, you got to laugh. Because that 112 is now in the lead. Something you mentioned earlier, though, Tony, for, I can't remember who it was, but a particular driver that was in the top 10 at the time, down to his final set of tires.
Linus Brostrom.
So that's a big story. He's kind of made his bed.
Absolutely. He just took a set right there. Now, I might be off on my count.
Oh, I'm only
because I don't remember early on if he took a fuel only stop or not.
Well, I'm just the messenger. So, I mean, you're going to have to answer to the angry mob out there. So, if you need to hope if you're right.
Yep. If I'm right, I'm right. I may be crazy.
Tony, we observed that last run. What, 12 laps, 10 lap tire difference ahead for Oscar Fredriksson? Now, there's a 30 lap difference. Almost a 40 lap difference.
Watch how quickly he's going to go to the back.
Whew. Going to be sketchy.
With everybody behind him on fresh shoes. This is going to get ugly with a capital UG.
UG.
Jonas For's looking to get one of his laps back. That'll have him competing for the free pass position after this restart, hopefully.
I don't mind that call at all. You know, given the circumstances that is likely to unfold here on this restart. Take the wave around. Put yourself in a position to get that free pass next time around. And if you don't, then you have the opportunity to go down pit road.
Well, here's the good news is everybody who did come down this time should be able to make it from here.
Yep.
As we are inside 50 to go. So Fredriksson, Eriksson, Gunnarsson, Haflidason, Blixt, Holmer, Solo, Eriksson, again. Brostrom and Anton Araman rounding out your top 10 as we get ready to turn them back loose, and only 2 of your top 10 are not playoff drivers.
Yeah, I'm curious to know how those non-playoff drivers, how hard they're going to race here in this last little stint, because they're not championship hunting, they're just trophy hunting now. So it'd be interesting to see if that 13 and 42 can work their way up towards the front a little bit further.
Well, here's the thing. I know for a fact that Team Alcantech, who Daniel Solo in the 13 runs for, has one simple rule, and that is don't kill each other. Rule number 2 for that team is if you are going to kill each other, make damn sure it's a Sports Center highlight for the next year.
Green flag, green flag.
As Fredrickson jumps on the loud pedal, we are back underway. Let's see how much clean air is going to affect your race leader as Eriksson gets caught on the top shelf. And fresh tires, 37 to the point.
Yeah, we all collectively hold our breath now as the 33 peaks to the inside, and that 112 has just got to hold on for dear life.
79, Holmer gets caught up against the wall. He's going to lose a couple of spots. 3 wide going into 1. Wisely, the 112 backs out of it. As Holmer and Solo still door to door. And Solo on the bottom side, Holmer on the top shelf, and here comes Brostrom looking to go up the gut.
Side by side here, this is a great battle here for 5th. Got a lot of guys trying to get around that 112 machine as well, so action everywhere right now here at Richmond.
In just over a lap, he's already fallen to 12.
And you know, something to keep in mind, Tony. I'm not a big proponent for revenge or nothing, but Oscar Fredrickson was an integral part of that last caution, and if you were on the receiving end of that bumper that last time around,
He'd be piecing the car back on the hauler.
I mean, come on, you got fresh tires. You didn't cut you a break last time. Something to think about.
My cat jumped on my clutch pedal and I couldn't hit the brakes.
Yeah.
Oops. The thing is, though, the guys and gals in this league have too much respect for each other to do that. Now, they'll chew each other out post-race, which is why I'm glad, A, I don't speak Swedish, and B, I don't have in-race comms turned on, because he's
going to get it. He's going to get it. Tony's using him up here. He just bumped him out of the way.
Tony's leaning on him, that's for sure. As a matter of fact, let's go on board with Tony Oyvind.
Oop, gets him again.
That's tap 2 from Tony. You want the third one? You sure?
Hey, I mean, the scenario writes itself, doesn't it? Tony got moved earlier. Oscar now falling back to him on fresh tires.
And
I
Oscar
like that, though.
And Oscar can't catch him.
I like that, though. Running, bump him out of the way. Let him know that you didn't appreciate what happened, but then keep moving.
Give him 2 and then drive away from him. And I think, Fredrickson realized that if he tried to stay in front of Oyvind, he was going around.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
As we're going to check back in with the 71 Elias Brostrom, as he is currently running in 7th. As Zach, I will be right back.
All right. This battle continues to rage on here for 7th place. It's Linus Brostrom. The battle here, we're looking for 7th place. Watch the 35 of Robert Eriksson. He's going to try to rotate the corner here in turn 1, able to make up this ground as much as he can. Stay as close to that yellow line as possible. Let that car drift up the racetrack. Not going to get him this time. That 71 taking a bit of a defensive line. Going into turn 3 and turn 4 here. That's going to hurt his exit as the 35 now has liberty to peek to the inside here. Working lap 172 of 208 of this contest. Again, this is a battle here for 7th place. Linus Brostrom trying to put some distance between him and Eriksson. As he can see the top 5 just a couple spots away from him. Crossing the start-finish line here. 35 machine, he's right there. Not too far away.
He absolutely is right there. The 2 team superior cars starting to reel each other in. as they're both trying to figure out what they've got to do to get around Linus Broström. Meanwhile, in front of them, Holmer has not let Solo get away.
Yeah, pretty impressive run by both of these drivers, right? The 13 machine, he's not racing for a championship. He's on the outside looking in. He just wants trophies. That 79 machine you talked about earlier, Holmer needs a good run here tonight.
He needs one more spot to even have a shot at moving on to the round of 12 in 2 weeks.
Kind of makes you wonder if he's that close here come lap 207, what might happen?
Toot toot.
Toot toot, yeah, I love it. Meanwhile, back up front here, Tony, Eriksson has done a pretty good job at just being out of striking distance of Halfleidsen and Gunnarsson. That 37 machine's really strong.
But you have to wonder, is he going too hard too soon on the fresh tires? You know, you take a look at the lap times. He's starting to come back to Halfleidsen and Gunnarsson now.
Oh, and look at this. Look at who they're catching, Tony. That strategy did not pay off.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is Fredriksson.
Well, actually, no, it's not. It's the 78. Was I mistaken?
Yeah, they
Yes.
they have team colors on that team, and yeah, that's Jonas Spors on 78. He's already a lap down, but he's fighting with Connie Lundell for the free pass position. Should we see another caution?
And then the just for observation, Tony, that 112 machine, how far is he away from the leaders here? Because we've documented his tire disadvantage.
Well, he's coming Alpha 4 there. And there's Eriksson going Alpha 4 now.
I mean,
about half the distance to the back straightaway.
Yeah.
Roughly.
And it's not like Oscar Fredriksson can make it to the end, right? Because he's
he's going to have to come down for fuel at some point.
He's screaming for a yellow right now, I'm sure.
He absolutely is. But hats off to Erik Blixt and that team. You know, they have stayed in the top 10 just about all night long. And, you know, they haven't put the car in a bad situation. So whoever's spotting for Blixt right now, take a bow, because, you know, you're definitely helping your driver plead his case to get into that round of 10 in 2 weeks.
Blixt doing a really good job at just staying within striking distance of some of these guys that we've documented have been up front. Like Jonas Gunnarsson, he was really pulling away from the field at one point earlier on in this broadcast. Oh, there's the caution. That's the caution they needed.
Problem with Jonas Skoglund in the 83. What happened here? Let's go take a look.
22 of Carlin also in it. Maybe.
I dare say you're right. We're going to find out what's going on here. There they are coming down the back straightaway. Is the 22 going to look to the inside? And the 83 pinches him down, and into the wall they both go. Ow.
Tremendously hard hit there by that 22. Head on into the wall.
Let's see what the eye in the sky picked up on this one. You know, the 83 not having a good time of it right now. As was there net code? No, there wasn't. That was contact. The 83 he was trying to pinch the 22 down, not letting him come up, and well, that throws everybody's pit strategy out the window. Just about.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
I'll tell you who came out on the winning end of that whole exchange is that man right there, Oscar Fredriksson, as he was finally able to come down and get the service he desperately needed on that car. The only problem is he's a lap down.
I wonder how that happened.
Because he came down pit road when he really wasn't supposed to. So Jesper Eriksson, Michael Haflidason, Jonas Gunnarsson, Erik Blixt, Daniel Solo, Daniel Holmer, Martin Liesnik, Linus Brostrom, Robert Eriksson, and Anton Oman rounding out your top 10 as we get ready to sort this one out as we are fast approaching 20 to go.
Yeah, getting closer to crunch time here, Tony. I think drivers that need a great run. You talked about Erik Blixt earlier, Daniel Solo as well. Really some great stories inside the top 10. Now it's crunch time. Now you got to throw your hat in the ring and say, I want to go win this thing. No more giving out here. It's all take.
You're absolutely right, as we should be lights out on the pace truck next time by. But, taking a look through this field, you got to... Linus Brostrom just answered both our question. He did have another set of tires on the wall.
Tony.
As he just took them this time by. Robert Eriksson and everybody from Linus Brostrom back that came down pit road put the final set of shoes on the car.
That's going to be huge.
This is going to get very interesting very quickly as you're looking at about a 30-lap advantage for tires, and we saw what happened the last time somebody had a 30-lap advantage on tires.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. It was one car versus the rest of the field. Now you're looking at a decent-sized handful of guys who are out here with, significantly older stuff. How hard are they going to fight?
Well, if you're Erik Blixt, you better be fighting like you're trying to get on the arc. It's starting to rain, and you're the third monkey in line.
I love it. Pace truck's off. Here we go.
Eriksson wastes no time. As soon as he got into that restart zone, jumped on the loud pedal and tried to get away from everybody. As Blixt caught on the high side, here comes Gunnarsson to his inside. And they're teammates.
Down the backstretch here. Saw a couple guys in the fence coming out of two, but they all sorted it out. Gunnarsson reclaims third place, but look at this move by the 71, all the way down on the inside.
The 71 and the 95 goes down to block
Four
him.
wide, and there he goes.
Brostrom's around.
Multiple cars in it. We have the 18 and 24s in it as well.
Jonas Skoglund, Alexander Arildsson. Yeah, that was... Here's what happened is you're going to see the 95 go down 3 lanes, throws the block. The 13 and the 79 almost get into each other. And, he caught the apron, and around goes Brostrom. Thank you. Boy. And then carnage behind him.
I tell you what, looking at that replay, that 42 machine of Anton Oman took a really wicked hit there.
42, you say?
I believe so. It was one of these teammates back here. I do believe it was the 42. Just drove straight to the back of the competitor in front of him.
Well, let's see what happened here. There's Brostrom gets it a little loose, trying to get to the inside of the 95. 24, nowhere to go. Oh, yeah, that was the 42. Just blap.
Need to have that sound effect on a soundboard.
I need to get a soundboard that actually works.
And here, Tony, they're fine, right? They're 3 wide. Everybody's fine. Even here, when it gets sort of sketchy, they're good. But the moment the 71 decides, I want to try to get to the inside of the 95, that's where all the trouble.
Yeah. There he is. Let's watch that one again. We're going to watch this from Anton Arman.
Because I believe Anton gets help from behind. That's what sends him into all this.
Well, let's
from
do
the
it this way then.
18 machine, I think, gets into him.
You see both of them on the high side.
And
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, no, he had some help. Great job of driving by Jonas Fors. That should open up the free pass position for him to get back on the lead lap. As Bjorn Brostrom, the only one to bring it down pit side this time, of those who weren't involved in that incident. Just like that, we are already 16 to go here tonight from Richmond.
I was very surprised.
I'm Tony Spasso. He's Zach Woods. You were watching the Svenska eRacingligan second race of the round of 15, the AMRT 200 at Richmond Raceway. Thank you so much for making this part of your evening, as we have already seen some great action as we are in the closing laps of this one, and we are far from done.
Yeah, I was very surprised how Eriksson really was able to pull away from the field there on that restart. They all kind of bobbled around a little bit, a mixture of guys on old stuff and new stuff. But for the most part, Tony, those drivers who had old tires held serve.
They have, and that's something to be impressed about, is the fact that, you know, the fresh air seems to be a little bit more advantageous, even if it's just ever so slightly, than the fresh tires are. And, you know, that's something that we've seen the last couple of seasons in iRacing since they changed the tire model the last time.
Green flag, green flag.
As the pace truck is in, we are underway. Here we go. Katie, bar the door, because it's about to get ugly.
God!
There it goes.
Oh, that's the 37 getting just absolutely railroaded into the outside fence.
Well, let's watch that one again.
Woo. It's not very often, Tony, you see a crossover move on a restart, but that's exactly what we saw between Michael Havlidason and Jesper Eriksson.
Well, at least he waited until after. Oh, man.
95. Oh, such a great run. Lioness also in it. Mm.
Let's watch this one again from up top. You're going to see the 81. As soon as he clears the start-finish line, he comes down, changes lanes. And he just full sends it. He didn't even hit the brakes. And then
79 in it too.
Erik Blixt catches a race car in the face. Man.
Two guys we were rooting for to have good runs. Daniel Holmer, as well as Erik Blixt, both involved. I think Holmer had a car land on his hood.
Well, damn. Let's watch this one. You see the 79 on the top side.
It's a good job. I mean, doing everything right here. Can't control the people in front of you, though.
Yeah, it's just because. Oh, yeah. Yeah, when the 39 came down, he landed on both the 95 and the 78 almost instantaneously. Jeepers. Well, that puts us back under caution. thing to keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, is overtime rules are in effect tonight. Are we going to have to use them?
I don't know. A wreck like that really makes you wonder, though, Tony, if you are the guys that are around Michael F. Leeson, how much slack are you willing to give Michael here on this restart? I'm willing to venture not a whole lot.
Is there a number less than 0?
Oh, I mean, theoretically, yes, but I don't know.
Yeah, but
I'm no mathematician.
I was going to say, not in statistics, I don't think. Statistically, I would say that a snowball has a better chance of surviving a beach trip in Brazil.
Speaking of surviving here, Tony, take a look at your top 10. Mm-hmm. It is significantly less blue on the pylon than what it used to be. So a number of drivers outside of the playoffs throwing their hat in the ring.
It is at that. Is Solo currently your highest running in 3rd. And then you've got Oivinen up to 7th, Hakan Wet up to 9th, and Erik Lundberg up to 10th. So lights are out on the Chevy Silverado pace truck. We're going green next time by. Haflidason has the button one more time. As we are going to restart with 8 to go.
And Erik Blixt did a good job here, Tony, of keeping that car on the lead lap. So did go down pit road, but remains on the lead lap. We're going to 2x2x2 all the way here to the start finish line. They will be following Haflidason. He gets a good jump, and we're back underway here at Richmond.
He does it that. Gets a great restart. And Solo looking to the inside on his teammate Gunnarsson. Holmer looking to gain some spots as well. And we're back under caution. Oh, boy.
That's way back in the back of the field.
Wiesnik.
Yep.
There you see him on the top side as my connection just went haywire.
Well, Liesnik here on the outside. He restarted just outside the top 10, so we'll see what transpired to get him farther back in the field. Ooh, speaking of connection issues, I think, Tony, this might be a matter of maybe your wheel disconnecting or something. That 016 took a hard right turn.
Well, somebody got into him. And
let's see here.
You're going to see it coming up. Watch the 112.
No, all by himself. I'm wondering, did he downshift?
Well, let's find out. He's in 2nd gear, which is the restart gear for this car. Nope. Didn't downshift.
Just lost it.
The back end just came around on him.
Wow.
Five laps to go, and we should get a natural green-white checker. Which means there's a possibility we could have 4 attempts at this.
Yeah, they're all chasing that 81 machine. Michael Haflidason, he got such a great jump. It's such a big boost to be the control car on these restarts. But you got to keep in mind, Tony, top 3 are still on significantly old tires, so watch out for tire spin.
Freshest tires in the top 5 belong to Robert Eriksson in 35. He was last down on 183. Then you got to go all the way back to Anton Bratberg, who was down on 183. He's back in 6th.
In this situation, where do you want to be here on a restart?
Leading.
Well, there you go. Discussion over. Boom.
I at this track, in this car, I would want to be leading only because I've seen what a restart can do. And the tire advantage isn't that dramatic right now because we haven't had a ton of laps under anger. And, everybody's tires have cooled off, and a lot of these guys have already equalized their tires with those around them. So, I mean, if I'm solo, I'm just on edge right now, trying to get the best jump that I can to try to get by Gunnarsson and follow Half-Leadison through and have a shot at him on the last lap.
I'm sure Jesper Eriksson at one point shared your sentiment about being the lead car on the restarts. He was a leader not too long ago and got the boot. So we'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to see how this all fares out. It's going to be 3 laps to go here.
Pace truck is in. Geico restart zone. He holds him down. Finally jumps on the loud pedal. And here comes Solo to the inside of Gunnarsson for second. Looking to bring Daniel Holmer with him.
I've been listening to you here on the broadcast as the 13 doing everything right, trying to get by that second place machine.
Volvo on Volvo action in the top 3 right now. And then you got the Camaro on the low side, the Toyota on the high side, and Oivonen with a good run. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go. We are racing back to checkers, Zach.
Oh, they're trying to wreck behind them. That's the 24 machine, but it's a 13 down the backstretch. Going to set his sights on the leader.
They're wrecking in the back still, coming off a 2. Meanwhile, off of turn number 4 for the final time, your winner tonight at Richmond and punching his ticket into Auto Club in 2 weeks, Michael Half-Leadison. Daniel Solo playing a little bit of spoiler as Jonas Gunnarsson relegated to 3rd, Dan Holmer and Robert Eriksson rounding out your top 5. So 4 of your top 5 are playoff contenders. I don't know if they had enough, though. Holmer, if he gets in, it's going to be just by the skin of his teeth.
We're going to have to see here as Michael Half-Leadison pulls it in and showing off for the fans that are watching tonight.
Well, let's see if we can find Mike. Of course we can't.
There he is. He's in the waiting room. They're all there, Tony.
All right, then. Well, Zach, I believe you've got the race sponsor's car's driver with you now.
Michael and Zach up in the booth. You managed to get the win here at Richmond, but it was not without difficulty. Talk to us about your night.
Yeah, I mean, car's been feeling great all night. Obviously, what happened with Jesper, I'm very sorry. Obviously, I did not mean to punt him out as I blow my engine. Didn't obviously mean to punt him out. That was very unfortunate, but I love Richmond. I'm not the fastest at Richmond, but I can keep it consistently and keep the tires clean, which I think was the key today.
What about this racetrack what about it is appealing to you? I mean, this is a really unique racetrack, especially on the NASCAR side of things. It causes drivers fits. You either hate it or you love it, but you managed to get the win tonight. So there's got to be some things about this racetrack that suit your driving style.
Well, before I really started doing oval, when I did my first NIS, I won here on Richmond, although in 7th split, but I still won. I think that's why I like it so much.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, taking a look forward as the playoffs keep rolling, of course, you get the win here, so that's a big deal for you. But what are your ambitions as the playoffs roll along? Is this going to set up a big-time run for you for a deep playoff run?
Well, I mean, the goal has been firstly to just get to the top 5 to Charlotte, and then hopefully try to get the win, obviously. But just right now, we just try to keep it consistent and hope for the best, I'd say.
All right, Michael. Well, I'm going to leave this time up for thank you, sponsors, and shout-outs for this P1 effort tonight.
Yeah, well, obviously I want to thank AMRT for the amazing rig you have, and of course all my teammates who has done a great work today, and of course my dad also, who made it in.
All right. Well, that's your race winner here, Michael Haflidason. Go and enjoy it.
Thank you.
And joining me now is the man who just had an absolute slugfest going on all night long, plus 11, coming home second P2. Daniel Solo, this is not the first time you and I have had a chance to talk, but it's got to be a little bit bittersweet knowing that you're not in the playoffs.
That's funny because I am in the playoffs. I think I made it in.
Then Sam messed up because he doesn't have you highlighted.
Okay, no, I think I made it in as 5th into the round of 15.
Okay, well, then this should move you into the round of 10 next week with a second place finish tonight.
Yeah, should pretty easily get into top 10 here, and it's just been a pretty good race all day. Kept the car clean. I think the entire race I barely had any contact whatsoever, so I've just been rolling really.
You had the best seat in the house for the last caution that we saw tonight. What are your thoughts about what happened there?
I don't really remember. I just I saw the 95 go flying in front of me. I'm amazed he didn't get a meatball from that.
Fair enough. But Dan, 2 weeks from now, we go to Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. What's the game plan for you?
I'm just gonna show up and hopefully do a good race. It should be a fun race. I like Auto Club.
All right.
Should be a good all around, I think.
Seems fair. Dan Solo, who do you need to thank before we let you go celebrate?
I want to thank Alcantech, Neyman Racing, Almitech, and the boys over in Alcantech NHR. Of course, you guys for the broadcast, and everyone for showing up, even if they're not in the playoffs. Still making a fun race here, and not just 15 cars.
All right, Dan Solo, congratulations on the podium. We'll see you in 2 weeks at Auto Club. And Zach, I believe you've got Jonas Gunnarsson with you now.
Hey, it's Zach up here in the booth. You managed to get P3 tonight here in what was a very eventful-filled night. Talk to the fans about your night at Richmond.
Yeah, it was a pretty good night. I really wanted it P1 today, but P3 and the team got P1, P2, and P3, so really good result for the team.
This tends to be, I asked the race winner this here a little bit ago, but I'll ask you here because, of course, you managed to put a great team effort out there tonight. This track tends to be very polarizing between drivers. It's either a track that you love or a track that you hate. And as somebody who finished third, there's got to be some things about this racetrack you enjoy. So what about Richmond is good for your driving style?
I think calm driving style, like taking it easy on the back tires. And I think that's the key to this track, really.
Well, you managed to have, of course, a great points day for you here today. Looking forward as the playoffs roll along, what are your expectations for the playoffs as they continue to whittle down week in and week out? What are your goals here as the playoffs continue?
I really looking forward to Auto Club and hope I get my first win there.
All right. Well, Jonas Gunnarsson, that is P3 for you tonight. Do you have any thank you sponsors or shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, I think the team has already thanked them, but I do it again. Simlab, Alcantech, Neyman Racing, and the whole team really, and to you guys. Thank you.
Oh, great team effort by you and your teammates up here, snagging the podium tonight. Go and enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you.
And Zach, that puts another one in the books for us. We already spoke to our top 3 finishers tonight. Rounding out your top 5. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. Daniel Holmer coming home in 4th, and I believe that was enough positions to move Holmer into the round of 10 in 2 weeks. We're going to be able to find that out before the next race, though, as we will give you the update. Robert Eriksson, after running up front most of the day, unfortunately coming home in 5th. Tony Oivinen, very strong run for him. It was in the top 10 just about all day long. Coming home in 6th. Peter Helmbro, Linus Broström, Erik Lundberg, and Oscar Fredriksson rounding out your top 10. Erik Blixt, Alexander Arildsson, not the night he was hoping for. Looked to finish a little bit higher up. Bjorn Broström and Martin Jesnik rounding out the top half of the field.
You got Haken Wet here in P15. I remember that last name because Frank taught me it.
Yep.
Anton Oman finished in 16th. Jonas Forss finishing 17th. Anton Bratberg finishing 18th. Connie Lindahl finishing 19th, and 20th is Heflidi Johannesson, rounding out your top 20. 21st is Jonas Skoglund.
Yep.
I'm trying here, Tony.
You got it. You're nailing it.
22nd is Jesper Eriksson. Philip Carlin finishing 23rd. Kenneth Trier finishing 24th. 25th would be Robert Erling. Andre Solender finishing 26th. And then 2 drivers who it looks like they did not make the field according to timing and scoring is Kim Nylon and Johan Larson finishing 28th tonight.
You just did 1,000 times better with those names than I did the first time I saw them. But, folks, that is going to do it for us tonight. Be sure to join us next week for the next round of the LMP2 division, which my timing and scoring just took a poo, so I cannot tell you where that is going to be. But that is going to do it for us tonight from Richmond. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, share, turn on bell notifications so you don't miss a single moment of action here on Sim Racing Media. He's Zach Woods. We had Frank Marchese in the booth with us in the early going. I'm Tony Trapasser, reminding you, ladies and gentlemen, that until we meet again and as you walk down the road of life this week, do us all a favor and don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.